Hello everyone, my name is Shivani Tyagi, your philosophy and ethics teacher. So today we are going to discuss a very important philosopher named Charvak. So Charvak is a philosopher who actually we want to implement in our life, but it's very tough to, especially when it comes to 2025. We are filled with materialistic world, we are filled with greed and belief. So it is very difficult to implement his philosophy. Now what he says that we should not think about future, past. We should live in present, right? And his philosophy is something that we all want to achieve, like it's a path towards the happiness. And this is what he believes, that we should only think about happiness, about materialistic world, about sleeping, about eating, about being with yourself. And he basically criticizes afterlife. He doesn't believe in afterlife. He doesn't believe in religion. So these things were that he criticized. And there are different philosophies that criticize Charvak. But if I ask you that there is some authority given to you, that you can do whatever you want, you just have to be in present, you can basically live like the king, right, with all the resources, everything in your hand, right? How amazing, beautiful it will be, with no responsibilities, with all freedom. But do you think it is possible? Especially looking at today's scenario, is it possible? No, right? So this is what Charvak's philosophy is, and we actually want to go towards it. And especially when it comes to corporate people who are actually working 9 to 5, and students who want to clear UPSC and PCS exam and other government exams. But it is very difficult to do so, especially when it comes to responsibilities. And there are so many philosophers that we have discussed about their responsibilities, what they said about freedom and what they said about society, right? So they all believe that once you are born with responsibilities, and with responsibilities there is no freedom. But Charvak, his philosophy is totally different. He says that there is nothing to worry about. There is no thing that you have to be worry about, because if you are living in this world, then you have to only think about present. And when you are being in that present, when you are being in that time, you have to think and be with only and only happiness. And that happiness can vary also. So these were the criticism that he faced, that how will you define happiness, right? So we have learned also that good definition of happiness is, which is something very difficult, and it varies from person to person, right? So Charvak has been criticized by many and many philosophers, and even in today's generation, I don't think his theory, his philosophy is practical. Now let's understand one by one what he was trying to say. So he's the ancient materialist school of Indian philosophy. Materialist because he was the philosopher who believed that resources that we are using, right? And he was the one who focused on happiness, on being in this time only. So he was the materialist school of Indian philosophy and rejects supernatural beliefs, superstitious, promotes empirical observations. So basically, he was the philosopher who believed that supernatural beliefs, it means that religion, those superstitious that we are working towards, and promotes empirical observation, empiricism, that what we can see is true, is existing, otherwise there is no existence of it, it's not true to us, right? So this is what empiricism is, that if we are seeing that object, it's existing, otherwise there is no object, right? If you are seeing me, then I present, right? I'm existing in this world. If I am not seeing you, then there is no chance, according to Charvak, I'm saying there is no chance that you're existing. So this is what Charvak says, according to observation, according to empiricism, what we are understanding with senses, that knowledge is true, right? Then focuses on present, denying a life after death or any unseen entities. So now, because he was a philosopher, empiricist philosopher, so he didn't believe in afterlife. Why? Because there is no proof to it, because empiricism cannot prove that if afterlife is existing or not. So he didn't believe in this theory, right? So he says that because there is no proof, there is not a single man on this planet which can say that yes, this is how afterlife looks, then we cannot accept it. So he denied afterlife, right? And he also denies Atma. He says there is nothing like Atma, soul. He denies God, he denies religious, he's superstitious. Superstitious, religious, which are like base of our Indian society. Even in today, we are following cultural values. We have different cultural beliefs, right? And we are going towards that. So now he criticized this. Now there is another phase of it. What this phase is, now we need religion. Why do we need religion? We need religion because it gives us moral values, it gives us shape to the society, it builds our character. Now he criticized religion, right? He criticized superstitious things. So don't you think a society where there is no religion, where there is no such thing like rules and regulations, moral values, without thinkers and those God belief that we go with, and especially when it has been like only few days that Durga Puja has passed, and now Durga Puja, it shows us the divine power, the power of women, right? Now, if no such thing will exist in the society, how the society will be? It will be very chaotic, very disturbed, very uneven, right? So imagining and being in Charvak's philosophy, here is the criticism. You cannot imagine a culture, you cannot imagine a society without any belief, right? Because religion is something which gives us, it builds a shape of the society, right? So this is why it is very necessary. But he criticizes it. On what basis he criticizes it? Empiricist basis of he criticizes it, right? Now he says it historical background, it is very important to understand that why we are reading this philosophy and what is the base of this philosophy. So originated from 6th century BCE as part of heterodox schools. When we talk about heterodox and orthodox, these are two types of school we have, right? So these are the schools which don't believe in Vedas, and these are the school which believes in Vedas, right? And this is which don't believe in Vedas, right? So basically this is Nastik and this is Astik, right? And he was the heterodox school, right, who didn't believe in Vedas. As he said, there is no such thing called religion, there is no such thing called Vedas, no such thing called superstitious. Everything is present in today's reality, and this is what you have to follow. So these are types of the school we have, heterodox and orthodox, right? And also called Lokayata, meaning worldly or people's philosophy. Lokayata means which is related to world, right? Related to people, right? So mentioned in texts like Mahabharat and Sarvidhanta Samagra, there is no original text of Charvak. We don't have his original text. But yes, we got to know about Charvak by criticism of it. And the criticism was written in Mahabharata and Sarvisiddhanta. On these basis, we got to know that there was someone called Charvak and his philosophy was this. So when they were criticizing his philosophy, then we came to know that this person was existing and this was his philosophy, right? So next we have his theory of knowledge. Perception is the only pramana. As he was a philosopher named empiricist who didn't believe in Vedas, right? So basically he says that pramana, whatever you can see, means of knowledge was pramana. Whatever you can see, that is existing to us, right? Otherwise there is no existence. So we need praman, we need proof, right? Then empirical evidence is supreme. If you can see it, then it is true at any cost. This was Charvak's philosophy, right? Anything beyond sense experience is unreliable or illusory. If you are seeing anything beyond sex experience, that is not existing to him, right? So if Charvak is sitting in a room, right, if that person is sitting in a room and he is drinking something, coffee, being himself present in that moment, as he said, and not thinking about religion and stuff, and someone comes and says, Charvak, you have to run out of this room because there is fire outside, he won't believe it. Why he won't believe it? He will not believe it because he hasn't seen that. Now because he haven't seen that, he will die sitting there, but he won't move from there. So this was his philosophy. He said that I will not believe any other person, any other second knowledge. Inference, he didn't believe in that. Testimony, didn't believe in that. He was actually believing on the knowledge which was given by our senses, by sense experience, empirical knowledge, right? I hope this is clear by now. Then types of perception. There is external perception, direct contact with objects through senses. So external contact is when you are seeing something, this is external. The relation between you and the object, there is no intermediary, right? No, nothing in between, right? So this is external. Now when we talk about internal is awareness of mental states like pain or pleasure. So internal is something that we are coming with emotions, right? How you are feeling with that, and then you are analyzing it, right? So when we talk about love, right, we cannot experience it with eyes, but we can feel it. Emotions are there. Then you get to know that yes, you are in love with this person. So this is what? This is internal. Both are accepted as reliable sources of knowledge. According to him, both are accepted. Both are necessary. Both are required, right? So there is this internal and there is this external knowledge according to him. Then inference depends on unseen connections. Examples, smoke and fire. So inference, what is inference? Which is actually, there is like relation to it, right? Unseen connection could be seen. If you see smoke, right, smoke, then it's very sure that fire will be there, right? So by this you interpret that yes, if there is smoke, there is going to be fire, right? Now you can see ice, right? Now you know that if ice cubes are there, then it's going to be very like very cold, right? If you'll touch it, it will be cold. So this is what inference, right? Then such assumption can be wrong. According to him, these assumptions can be wrong, because not like in every case smoke produces fire, right? So if you are seeing smoke, like in every situation, is there a situation where you will feel that not, like there is not going to be fire, right? So this is what he says, that not in every situation you will feel that fire is there. Then Charmak accepts only what can be directly perceived. He only perceives those things which are actually present there, which could be seen at that moment. Otherwise, he was not accepting anything. Right? As I gave you the example that he's sitting in a room, he will not accept that truth until and unless he sees that. Next, we have rejection of transcendent entities. Now, what he says, that he denies existence of God, soul, karma, and rebirth. Why they were criticized? They were criticized because he could not see them, right? He could not see them. There is no internal relation, there is no external relation, and because of that he criticized that. He says that there is no such thing, right? Can you see God? No, you can only feel it. Soul? No. Afterward, because of it? No. Karma? No. So because of this he criticized them. They argued that this cannot be perceived or proved, as I said, and focus only on material world and physical reality. Focus on today. No past, no present, right? So no past, no future, right? So this is what he says. There is no afterlife. You don't have to believe in that. What matters right now is that you are existing at this moment. You are speaking, you are listening to me, right? So this is the sole reality of today's world. Then Charvaka view on religion as a seen that is seen as human creation for control and exploitation. He says that we created religion, we created norms and values so that we can have power together, right? So that people can dominate. So is this somewhere leading to Brahmin society also, right? They made certain rules, and there were Shudras, right? And they were discriminated, they were treated as untouchable, right? So according to him, these people created a society where they could have power and they could govern them, govern few people, right? And they divided these caste systems also, right? Then priests are criticized for misleading people using fear and afterlife. And this could be seen when kingdom were like breaking down. There was like one kingdom emerged, Chandragupta, right? So they were like different kingdoms emerging, and they were seeing that kings were performing different rituals, killing horses, doing pujas, right? So all these were seen in that area, right? And this was suggested by whom? This was suggested by priest, right? So priests suggested them. Why they suggested them? So that king could have power and they could be like in direct in contact with king, right? So indirectly they were also having this power. Kings were becoming dependent on priest, right? So this is what he says, that this was a practice which was done to only hold power, then emphasizes on rational and practical life, right? So this could be done and this could be emerged in real life also, right? So now his ethics and morality, he focuses on pleasure. As I said, that karma is the highest good. Desires and pleasure that he focused on. Pain should be avoided, happiness in the life is the goal, no moral obligation beyond personal well-being. Think about yourself. Individualism he was focusing on. He says that if you are happy, the society is happy. If you are being sad and if you are creating chaos for the society, by thinking about future, by thinking about past and creating rules and regulations, like basically priests created. So this is something which creates more imbalanced society. So actually focuses on that we should not focus on these things, and we should only focus on happiness being in today's time, right? Then materialism in Charvak. Everything in the universe is made of four elements: earth, water, fire, and air. This is very important, and make sure that you are writing to it. When we'll be reading other philosophers, I'll be coming with the same elements that they thought of. Then these were the elements that they thought of, and they comes with that universe is made of these four. Then consciousness arises beyond body, not from a soul. This I've said, that he didn't recognize, he didn't accept it soul. He says that if we cannot perceive it, if we cannot see it, then it is not existing to us. Then when body dies, consciousness disappears. When body dies, there is no concept of afterlife. Consciousness is everything, and if consciousness is died, your body is also died. there is nothing left in that body, right? So these rituals that we are understanding, these rituals that we are going through so that we can have like different afterlife, this is absurd, and he rejected all of this. So this was all Charvak's theory. I hope you like it. I'll be back with another philosopher. Thank you.